Hey everybody, what's up? It's me, the Eagle/Reactor. I'm back. First video of 2025. Let the new year begin. We're to discuss Creature Commandos. Alright, so where to begin? How did I even find out about the show? Really don't know. I think some people were either talking about it on YouTube or I heard somewhere that this was sort of like, I think it's one of the James Gunn's first show within the DC universe. Um, which started when did the show come out? Like last month or something. So yeah, late 2024, and found it was on Max. So I'm like, all right, I have it, so I can definitely check it out. I didn't know if it was gonna be good or not, but just by hearing the premise of it, like, oh, it's a new show by James Gunn, like you had me hooked from there, which is a good sign. So I checked it out. First two episodes were like, all right, I see what we're doing here. Like I was able to follow along, but once episode three began until the end, I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. Like I really enjoyed it, and like the way that each character was developed and written, and their storyline, in my opinion, um, was done really well. So, with that being said, let's discuss this more in depth. As a show overall, it was pretty good. Um, I really enjoyed this one. I mean, coming from James Gunn, he really knows how to make you feel for certain characters who you really never heard before. I'm like, who are these people? I'm like, okay, I know who Amanda Waller is, from Argus. I've watched the CW Arrowverse. She was in that, right? Or no, was she not? No, she was. And then she showed up later, I think, in Black Adam. So I've seen her twice. Um, and this is the first time I think I've seen her in animated format. So there's that. But still, that's cool. You know, I just wonder when James Gunn like signed on for this show, and like, oh, that's right, because I think he agreed. Because animated shows generally take time, right? So I'm like, the show has probably been in development for a while. So I'm assuming as soon as like he signed on for DC, this thing was probably in development for a while. So he probably wanted like, okay, let's make a show about this, about these characters who people also haven't heard of, kind of reminiscent of like the Guardians of the Galaxy, and let's make people care for them. We have another team who's sent out on missions to do stuff. So a really cool premise. And then there are a bunch of monsters in this world, who most of us haven't really heard of. Especially me. Maybe if you're a fan of DC or like know these characters, then that's cool. I only really know Frankenstein, even though isn't you can correct me on this. I don't know about the DC universe, but isn't Frankenstein the name of the scientist who creates him? There's probably some change with this, but no, Frankenstein just the name of the monster. Like, okay, cool. We got Frankenstein in here, and it's so weird and funny and crazy at the same time. I'm like, has he like been in DC Comics before? Because if so, that's it's a pretty cool idea. I mean, I don't know if Frankenstein is like public domain or something, but sure, we can roll with it. What else? We have Rick Flag here, who's like our one of our main guys, right? Main good guys, and he's like one of the only characters who isn't a monster, so he doesn't get his own flashback episode, which I guess kind of makes sense. Though maybe we could have tapped more into like his life that he had. Maybe it was when he was like, fighting in like wars and stuff. Like could have shown a bit of that, but I guess probably wouldn't have made too much sense. Maybe. But yeah, what else? One thing about the show that I did enjoy though was the editing, the way that anytime they do a flashback and then a flash forward, and how it would like connect, very reminiscent of what's going on. That's done pretty well. So yeah, there's that. And then I also like how even with just a short episode, like 20-ish minutes, James Gunn's still able to tell a story where hey, you have this current present narrative going on, taking place, while also going back to the past and telling a short, quick story about the character's backstory, which was done pretty well. So that was cool. And got pretty invested. Like the Tin Man, he was a pretty cool character. Weasel was great. The way to develop the bride was done well. Dr. Phosphorus was cool. And then Nina in the last episode, what else am I missing? Am I missing anyone? I don't know. Let me know if I'm missing anyone. So the backstories we had was one had no backstory. Two was about the bride, I think. Um, three was about three was about the Tin Man. Four was about Frankenstein, I think. One was about Frankenstein. One was about Weasel, one was about, and then I think we had Dr. Phosphorus, and then we had Nina in the last one. So overall, made sense, in the direction we were going. So nothing really surprising there, but the story and like the characters we're getting and like investing in everything was cool, right? Because I think the main thing for the show, in my opinion, was setup. We learned more about, okay, introducing all these cities, Gotham City, Star City, like places that I've heard of in the DC universe. And introducing Clayface, which is amazing. And I believe we are getting a Clayface movie sometime in the future. So that's pretty cool. And just all these other characters, if they do get introduced into live action, that would be amazing, First just doing a quick test run on the show, and then we're already getting a second season's been greenlit. I think obviously the first season's been, I'm pretty sure, getting pretty good reviews overall. So I think that definitely made them confident that yes, the second season would work. I don't know if any characters that may have like to us died in the season return. Like Rick Flag, he's in a pretty bad shape. I think at the end of episode 7, he went back into his coma. So he may return. It's possible, way more possible than a Fast and Furious return, but we'll see. What else? I mean, last episode really hit us. Like I don't think many of us really wanted any of the characters to die, but Nina, come on, man. Um, like it's tough, man. The bride's character was done pretty well, in my opinion. The way she was written, and the whole misdirection with the princess and all that stuff going on was like also pretty interesting. How at first she seemed so like innocent, but then she tried to get Rick Flag on her side. Um, but then what else happened? Hmm. Oh yeah, the chemistry between Frankenstein and Rick Flag was amazing in my opinion when they decided to focus on that. Because like Frankenstein, and this is a true thing. Whenever he shows emotion, it's always a 10 out of 10. Like if you're my best friend, you are my best friend. Like I literally love you to death. And then same for um his thing going on with the bride. It's still weird though, but whatever. He's still if you can like get him to be like your friend or something, that would just be a really cool guy to have. Like if you need someone like dead or something, he'll just do it right away. Like like as an ally, that actually sounds pretty cool in my opinion. Yeah. He just needs to let go of the bride and like just be with people who like actually care about him. If he does that, then like I think his life is like pretty much all set. I get what he wants is like to just be with the bride, but I don't know. And I don't know how he keeps surviving everything. He's one strong guy. Like I know Clayface put up a good fight for him, but even then getting shot by the bride in episode 7, like dang, bro's taking hits. What else? Episode 7 was great because we saw the Tin Man return, and it's weird because he was kind of barely in the show. Like, sure, he was in the first 3 episodes, but then he died, and they didn't come back until episode 7. And this was a whole thing going on because, his name was appearing in the credits of every single episode, but we didn't see him until the last one. So, yeah. I mean, he is a robot, so it sounds like they could rebuild him, like, in the MCU, um, with what? Who are they? They had Jarvis, and like all the other people. If they can like somehow, I don't know, just take like the robot part, they could maybe rebuild them some shape or form. What else? What else? What other characters did we have here? Oh yeah, one thing was the references, right? They made a couple Disney Marvel references in the last episode with how the bride had called the princess a Disney princess, because the show was on Max, but it's a take on Disney. And then the way that Bride called Dr. Phosphorus Ghost Rider, um, that was pretty funny. What else? Overall, the show's pacing, I liked it. Good pacing. We'll get to the rating in a second. I know you guys may be waiting for that. I'll get to it eventually. But what do I say, man? I mean, I really enjoyed this show. It was a pretty good show. Um, Maybe the second season will be even better. I just want us to like I don't know. My only thing that I felt was like how the main storyline was good, but it felt sort of lacking at times. Like the whole thing where, okay, we gotta go and kill the princess. It was kind of stretched out a bit, and I get why they had other things to focus on. Introduce Clayface, do a lot of setup. This season was literally the setup season, and that's what season ones are usually for. I'm not complaining about it, but I want like maybe now that we're done with the backstories, I'm assuming maybe we'll do backstories about the other characters as well, assuming we're getting more. I want us to also focus maybe a bit more on the present side, which like the first two episodes did. I get they weren't as exciting, but I think that was like a good direction that they were doing. And I understand that the flashbacks are pretty short already, but I want us to like have like a really good thing going on in the present, and hopefully we can get that. But I don't know. If you have more characters coming in the next season, then I guess we may have more backstories to go through. But I'm totally on board with that. It's just, if you have something good going on in the present, that's like, okay, something in the present is happening, which is cool. And, because in the present, no one really knows what to expect. So it's like, let's find out. Because, if you're seeing a character and their backstory, like, you know that they're here, they're alive, they've somehow managed to survive everything they've been through. But, they don't know what's gonna happen next to them. So yeah. What else? I'm interested. I'm interested to see what James Gunn wants to do next. I'll definitely say that. I believe they have another show coming out. In January, I think, because I saw a promo of it while I was watching the last episode. I think Harley Quinn's in it. They referenced some like was it the shark character? I forgot. It was one of them. But we'll see. We shall see. We got a little teaser of the Batman in the Dr. Phosphorus episode of Creature Commandos, um, which, in my opinion, was pretty cool. Yeah. What else? Weasel. I forgot to talk about Weasel. Weasel, in my opinion, was I liked Weasel. Was he voiced or like? I think Sean Gunn did the work for him, right? It was James's brother, right? I think because I think it said Weasel and Tin Man was done by Sean Gunn. Sean Gunn, yeah, that's his name, right? Yeah. So I don't know. It may have been him, but he was a cool character. I really liked him. Even though he didn't say much, the emotion you still felt from him was done pretty well. And then they sort of brought it, in every episode, that sort of trait that he had, how much he sort of just cared for people and just wants to be just treated normally. That's cool. And it was sad in the last episode when he had to leave like his pack behind and go and continue on his mission. So if he had died in this episode, then it would have been really bad. But maybe I don't know. He's back in. I mean, he's back now with the commando, so he's stuck living his same old life again. But it would be nice, to sort of see like him, especially like just retire and just live a normal life. Because, like, I don't know. What is Weasel really gonna do in terms of fighting? Like, is he gonna, like, kill people? Like, I guess he could do that, but I don't know how much you could get out from him. It might just be best to let him go and just live his life normally and peacefully, you know? And also, is he like a dog or something? Is he gonna even survive that long, like, as much as a human would? I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Anyways, rating time. This is hard. I'll give it an I think I'll give it an 8. 8's a 8 out of 10 is pretty solid. I'm only saying this because it's good, but it's not great. I think that's a very bold thing I can say. It's good, but it's not great. Like, again, as I said earlier, I wished we had more stuff going on in the present taking place. And it was mostly a setup season, so I get that. But overall, I was satisfied, so definitely check that box. I was definitely interested as well, but I would just like to see more. That would be nice. But like the last episode, I think really, really made me enjoy the show. It reminded me how much like these characters have been through, and what they are here to represent. I wish we could just get like an episode or something would just focus on like Amanda Waller and just have her do some like really cool action stuff because we didn't see much of her. And I get that, I mean, she's busy being like the director of Argus and whatnot, but if you had more of her, like just doing some cool stuff, that would have been enjoyable to watch, considering, how much like she's been through and all, but oh well. I wonder in the next season if we will return back to Picolistan or not. We might revisit it, but we might just take a new direction altogether because I think that's what James Gunn wants to do with this show. He wants us to like explore different places that we probably never heard of and just, you know, find more things to figure out. I mean, you can clearly tell he's definitely inspired by the DC comics. Some people have not really read, but he finds really interesting, and the way he's able to like bring them up and support them by giving them like a show or a movie and finding some way to invest in it, and make people sort of interested. I think James Gunn is sort of doing this cool thing where he's able to make people interested again, or people who weren't interested now in the DC universe, and that's just that's an amazing thing that he's doing. Like Marvel, they did a pretty good job at the beginning. I guess now it's DC's turn, and I think James Gunn is gonna do a pretty good job with that. Um, what else? I mean, with that being said, I think that pretty much wraps up my review about Creature Commandos. Let me know what you guys thought about the show in the comments below, and I mean, there's just way more to discuss. I don't know what my next video will be about. If there's a trailer or something dropping, I'll probably check that out. But if not, I guess we'll see. Anyways, you guys, thanks for watching. And just stay tuned. Eagle Brewer / Reactor is out. And I'll see you guys next time.